Hey guys, welcome to Unbiased Rugby. So today I'm going to be talking about the review of this weekend's games. I only really watched 3 of the games. I've still got all the other games there. I've been bouncing around through most of the games. The games that I saw were very, very enjoyable. I did get sidetracked a little bit. I got sidetracked by watching the Gloucester play Exeter, which I thought was a cracker of a game. So yeah, I was a little bit sidetracked, even though this is a Super Rugby review. Well, I'll just go through the games and then I'll talk about the games that I actually watched. So the first game, I had to watch this game. I didn't watch it live. I recorded it, but I got no one to tell me the scores, so I could watch it late in the evening. It was the Chiefs versus the Hurricanes, the Highlanders, and the Highlanders won 30-27. This is the only one that I actually got wrong on my Super Brew. I had predicted that the Chiefs would win. But yeah, it was an excellent game. It was just so nice to actually see expansive rugby again, playing off 10, very, very different. But yeah, the one thing I must say is Anton Leonard-Brown for me is probably one of the premier centres in the world. The guy is absolutely amazing. I know there's Ryan Crotty and Jack Goodhue ahead of him in the All Blacks, but that guy, he's just so magical. You know, he's just got the kind of space that he makes is just incredible, and I really rate him as a player. Next game we've got sorry, my dog's sleeping up against the chair that actually records this, so I'll just try and move it a little bit so he's there. We go. I think that might be a little bit better. Sorry guys. Yeah, I've got to find a place to actually do it, but yeah, he's just sleeping there. He's actually quite old, so we just try to keep him comfortable. Got the Brumbies versus the Rebels. Rebels won 34-27. I haven't watched this game yet. I do have it recorded, but I might only end up watching it on Thursday. I've got other games that I prefer to watch. Blues versus the Crusaders. Crusaders 24-22. I watched half of this game. It was neither here nor there for me, but like I said, I still got to finish watching all these games. I'll be completely honest. I really got sidetracked with the South African games this weekend. After the Bulls game, it was just phenomenal. But we'll get to that. Waratahs versus the Hurricanes, 19-20 to the Hurricanes. I'm not going to read much into it. I think it looked like a pretty scrappy game from what I saw. A lot of penalties. Just seemed very error-ridden. I know the Waratahs did have the opportunities to win that game, and Bernard Foley, he's just one of those kind of players. He's either having an off day or he's having an on day. There's no in between. Then a game that I did watch was the Sunwolves versus the Sharks. Sharks, huge big score, 45-10. But I've got to say this. I think the tight 5 for the Sharks is seriously impressive. The Beast had a brilliant game. It's great to see Kuni Oosthuizen back. Aka van der Merwe, I still say, one of our premier hookers or number 2s. 4 and 5. But I just know that they've got a really settled tight 5, and you need a tight 5 to in this competition. I'm not a real huge big fan of Robert Dupree, but I think there are better flyers out there. But the guy, he's dependable. He kicks at the right time. He kicks really well. So as a flyer, he's pretty good. But then their outside backs, Mpimpi and Nkosi, are phenomenal. Those real speedster. I really rate Sabu Nkosi. I think he is one of the premier wingers in the world. Big, strong, always getting over the gain line, always in the action, you know. So which is great. One thing I did say. Sorry, my other dog's just now walked in. I've just got to give her a little bit of attention. Yes, baby. Hey, sleepy. And I wasn't super impressed with the Sharks' performance. I was more disappointed in the Sunwolves' performance. I know that they don't have as much time to prepare. They don't have much of a pre-season like the other teams, but I just felt that if that Sharks team went up against any of the other teams, they would battle. That's my opinion. I think they would battle quite a bit. And so yeah, that was just my thing. But it was a good game. crowd was a little bit iffy. Unlike the Waratahs game where the crowd was just absolutely phenomenal, I thought the crowd at the Waratahs game was really nice. Here they're not playing at their stadium, like it's being bashed down or something. I'm not 100% sure, but it's so nice that they're actually taking now rugby outside of the main centres and showing it at the smaller stadiums, because this might be the way forward for a lot of the Super Rugby games, is actually taking it out to the countryside. I know where I stay, the closest biggest stadium was still about an hour away, but I know whenever they have a game there, it's packed, 40,000 people. It's completely packed. It's really nice to actually take the games to other places. I know that the stadiums need to make a bit of money, but it is nice that Super Rugby is going out there. Then obviously the game of the weekend for me was the Bulls versus the Stormers. Look, I was expecting a tight game. I really was. I just really was expecting a tight game, but I wasn't expecting that. That was a hiding. I'm sorry to say. One of, I think it's Finn. He had said if the Stormers won, I'd have to wear my Stormers cap. Don't have to today, so I'm pretty stoked about that. But maybe he can actually now write something nice about the Bulls. There we go. But Andre Pollard had an exceptional game. It was really a masterclass in rugby. Very much like Owen Farrell. Looked up, saw the space. But the one thing is that Embrus Papier, also very good box kicking. Then they've got kicking off 10 and they've got kicking off 15 of Warwick Galant, which gives them a lot of options for tactical kicking. And that's the traditional game of like 10 years ago when the Bulls were really strong. Tactical kicking, you've got to have an excellent kicker, and now they've got three kickers, three kicking options, and then they've got the two playmakers. So I think from there it's brilliant. Roscoe Speckman had a great game, but we always knew that from sevens that he was going to be great. One thing that did impress me was the two props for Ndinkani and I can't remember the other guy's name. I have seen him play before, but the real rock solid. I was a bit concerned about the prop stock at the Bulls. Skulkbrits is just, he brings something special to that field. Yes, he went off at 35 minutes. Bit of a question mark over his fitness, but yeah, I just thought he brings something special in the open. If you'd seen him play for Saracens, the guy is absolutely phenomenal. Yes, he's pushing 40, he's close to 40, I think he's 37. Then Dwayne Vermeulen, he's just the guy, he catches, he's always going forward. And you'll notice that for the Bulls, that their spine is pretty rock solid. So if you take 2, 8, 9, 10 and 15, you've got some really good players. You've got Skulkbrits, Dwayne Vermeulen, Embrus Papier, all Springboks, Andre Pollard and Warwick Galant. You know, that's a seriously good spine, and I think any team would be envious of to have a spine of a team like that. But yeah, coming to the Stormers, I honestly feel it was just a bad day at the office for them. I don't, maybe because they were 20 minutes late, they were stuck in a traffic accident. So maybe that did affect them, but yeah, it was an abysmal showing. If they have another 2 games like that, then it's time for Robbie Fleck to go. But yeah, I just think it was a bad day at the office. I think when they start getting their proper Springboks back, I think everything's going to be fine. Then the last game of the weekend was the Lions versus the Jaguares in Buenos Aires, and the Lions actually finally won. I think it's the 3rd time. The last 2 games they've lost in Argentina. Finally, they actually won. It was a hat-trick by Skuman. I think that's great. The Lions have lost a hell of a lot of players, but I think they've still got their core. Still got Warren Whiteley. Still got Malcolm Marks. They've still got Yankees. I wonder who's playing 15. I think they're pretty settled in their spine. I'm not sure who their scrum off is. I'll actually have to go have a look. But yeah, guys, what a great weekend. I just think it's great that we're back into Super Rugby again. It's still early days. There's still a lot of penalties happening. There's still a lot of knock-ons. There's still a lot of handling errors. So I think it's going to start improving with the coming weeks. This next week's probably also going to be neither here nor there kind of weekend. But I think from round 3 we're going to really start seeing, the teams really coming to the fore. Looking at the performances this weekend, if the final happened tomorrow, the Bulls would win. That's completely unbiased, but I still think, looking at all the teams, I think it's the Crusaders to lose. I say that again categorically. It's the Crusaders to lose the title. They're the ones that will lose the title for themselves. My prediction is they'll be it. The other prediction is that the conference system won't make any difference this year. The best teams will be in the playoffs, and I mean that from 1, 2, 3, 4. If you took the scores just the way they are, I think the top teams would be from each of the conferences. So I honestly do feel it's going to be that way. Unlike the last couple of years, where in all fairness, it should have been 5 New Zealand sides going into the quarters, as opposed to just having 2 or 3. So I just think this year it's going to start becoming a lot closer, and I think the best teams are going to be the top 8 teams. But listen, guys, please put your comments down below of what you thought of the weekend's games. What you thought I missed out on. It's going to be quite difficult this coming week, because there's Six Nations, which I love Six Nations, and I've been enjoying watching that. So I want to finish that off, because I think there's only another 3 games in the Six Nations, but it'll really be nice to finish that. So there'll be a few videos this week, but they might not be as long as per normal. Listen, guys, have a great week. Chat soon. Cheers. Bye.